Shut up and sit down.
Hello, Phantoms fans. Welcome to the Dump and Chase podcast. I'm Sam Olmstead.
And I'm Justin Irwin.
Let's do it.
Episode 19. We are already at episode 19. Doesn't it kind of seem like yesterday we were all getting excited about episode 10?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I remember being excited we made it to episode 3, but...
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Sam Olmstead. I am the head writer and audio editor of the podcast, as well as the reason why some people drink in the morning. And with me, as always, is the show's video editor, content director, and someone who for some reason started pouring vodka into his breakfast cereal, Justin Irwin. Now, if you ignore the game on Friday, how would you describe this past weekend?
Quite a few less miles traveled and a lot more positive on the team's weekend. But yeah, if we could forget Friday, that'd be great.
Yeah. So we'll kick off this show with a quick bit of roster news. After a very successful trip to Lithuania, Yusaku Ando will be returning to the lineup, and he'll be bringing some shiny new hardware with him.
Yeah. The Team Japan pretty much destroyed everyone in the World Junior Championship Division 2 Group A. Yeah, undefeated. They had a couple of 8-0 wins, a 10-2 win. They beat Great Britain, I think Hungary, Romania, Lithuania, then Great Britain again or something like that. Ando had 3 goals, 5 assists, 5th best in the tournament. This is an under-20 tournament, and he's a 16-year-old. Just really great stuff. Japan gets promoted from Division 2A to Division 1B. So it goes, there's a top tier, Group A and B. Division 1, A and B. Division 2, A and B, so forth. So, yeah, they get promoted up. They've been there before. They kind of bounce back and forth. But with young talent like they've got now, I have a feeling they'll be sticking around or, maybe even moving up.
So the Phantoms started last weekend's home and home series with the Team USA under-17s up in Plymouth, which was a 9-3 loss. Now, you traveled up to the game, and your updates on Twitter was the only way I could follow along. So since you have firsthand knowledge, what did you see in yet another drubbing by the Golden Boys?
It started out pretty decent. They looked pretty good out of the start. It came down, there was a missed penalty shot. They kind of just lost interest after that. Team USA started getting the lead, started building it up. Once again, composure was lost. This time, Team USA was taking a lot more cheap shots, pretty much what you expect from them. But then, we just totally lose composure, make it worse. Cade Limmer takes a run at 2 guys. Redmond Savage looked to be pretty badly hurt. He was out the next game. I didn't catch the other guy. It might have been Justin Janicki, who was also out. Yeah, just another overall loss of composure up in Plymouth. And yeah, the one thing I'd like to point out is that's, one of the places where you really kind of want to put your A game on, a stadium full of scouts. I saw several NHL teams in attendance, colleges, obviously. There's a lot of people out there watching these games, especially in Plymouth. And they don't care if you win or lose. They don't care if it's a blowout. They're looking to see how you react in these situations, and losing your cool like that definitely doesn't get you, a higher ranking on the Central Scouting Report. To point out, there was the overtime loss. We had November, December?
Yes.
Against the under-18s. Yeah, Purcell made 50-some saves in that game. He's the 6th overall ranked North American goaltender, and the highest non-NDTP player in the USHL on the list. So
Yeah.
All right, off the soapbox.
So to note, the Phantoms' third goal in that game, which this was the only high point pretty much of the game, The Phantoms' third goal of the game was scored by Lyndon Alger. That was the 2000th regular season goal in Phantoms franchise history. Now, I was working on stats before the season started and saw that the Phantoms were 94 goals away from 2000, so I kept track throughout the season, and I knew going into last weekend they were only 3 goals away. Then somehow I completely forgot about it until after the game on Saturday. So if anyone is working on a Phantoms trivia game, Lyndon Alger scored the 2000th regular season goal in team history. And to add to the trivia, the Phantoms' first goal in franchise history was scored by Joe Zarbo on October 3rd, 2009 versus the Indiana Ice. And their 1000th goal, would you like to venture a guess? It was during the 2014-15 season, and I'll give you the hint that it was not Kyle Connor who did it.
And you let slip earlier what season it was, so I had to pull up the roster to even look and see. I'm really, really, really torn here. I want to go out on a limb, but I'm not. I'm going to say Max Letnov.
No.
Taylor Best?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. It was Brian Lemos.
Really?
November 28th, 2014, at a game that was played up in Muskegon. He scored the Phantoms' 1000th regular season goal. Yeah, I kind of threw it to you earlier before we started, so you can quit beating yourself up now, trying to figure out who it was.
Yeah, that's not the guy I was going to say, obviously. Wow. Lemos. Nice.
So now we'll move on to the game on Saturday, back at the Covelli Centre. I'll give the Cliff Notes version to start. We'll get a little deeper into it after that. The Phantoms played a solid first period. There was some good back and forth. Hopes were high. It looked a little different than our recent games with Team USA. Right up until the 18:04 mark, when Roman Schmidt scored, followed 20 seconds later by a goal from the other Jack Hughes. So I think shell-shocked would be the correct word there as the first period ended.
Well, I mean, yeah, as shell-shocked as you can really be by something you've seen happen time and time again. But yeah, kind of looked like the wind was out of our sails there. Pretty much what you kind of expected coming in off the Friday game.
Now, going into the second, Ty Murchison put USA up 3-0 6 minutes into the period. About a minute and a half later, with the Phantoms on the power play, Ben Schoen picked up his first goal of the season. And a minute 32 seconds later, Jake Felker scored his fifth to put the Phantoms within 1. Now, less than 2 minutes after that, the Phantoms gave up 2 goals in 14 seconds to go down 5-2. And at that point, that was pretty much it for Dominic Bassi. He was pulled, Colin Purcell came in, and this was really starting to look like a typical USA game. As soon as you get a little momentum, they shut it down with a scoring spree.
Yeah, I mean, they always seem to have an answer, so yeah, it was kind of what you expected. You saw Bassi go out, Purcell come in, polar opposite of the game the night before, so you were kind of expecting, the same response out of the team, and that's not what we saw.
So, starting the third, the Phantoms were on the power play 54 seconds into the period. 12 seconds after that, Georgi Merkulov, I gotta start saying that. I've heard it enough now, I should be saying it right. Georgi Merkulov put in his fourth of the season, and the score was 5-3. Trevor Kuntar got his 22nd on the power play at the halfway point of the period, and with a minute 17 left in the game, and the Phantoms on yet another power play, and pulling Colin Purcell to create a 6-on-4, Aiden Gallagher scored his fifth to tie the game at 5 and send the game to overtime. Now, I remember what the crowd sounded like when the Phantoms clinched a spot in the Clark Cup Finals 2 years ago, and I think it was louder after that tying goal at the end of regulation.
Yeah. Kind of a cathartic response there from the crowd. We weren't the only ones who pretty much were expecting the 16-year-old kids to beat up on us, and when we tied it up, that was kind of, all right, we've got this. We're going into overtime, and yeah, you could feel the energy in the crowd.
So then the game goes to overtime, some pretty good back and forth the first couple minutes, and then some great back checking on Ben Schoen leads to a turnover in the neutral zone and a breakaway for USA. And at that point, we're sitting there going, okay, here we go again. But went to the backhand. Purcell was able to extend his leg out and stop the shot essentially with his toe. The game ended shortly after that with a shot by Jason Dobey that was deflected in by Trevor Kuntar at the 2:03 mark for his 23rd of the season. And I'm pretty sure the amount of noise that came from the crowd after that goal, I think the Covelli Centre may have shifted 2 to 3 inches to the south.
Oh, yeah. It was one of those memorable moments. You will remember this one for years. We kind of completed the vengeance there. The save by Purcell, that on the breakaway, that was Sasha Pastajov. I think I said that right. A really gifted scorer. He's beat us up pretty bad so far this year. I think he's their top scorer, top 3. Yeah, seeing him make the save and then, cover up the rebound. He got the rebound, just really bailed us out there, and that's the one we've been waiting for. The goaltender to make, that definitive save, bailed us out. If anybody, hockeyfan.com, I got a picture of it. Every time I see that, I can still kind of feel that, and you kind of knew at that point, we've got this.
Yeah, well, you got a very good picture there. Don't sell yourself short. Ansel Adams, you ain't, but that was a pretty good picture you took right there.
Yeah, I was proud of that one. You saw it coming, and it was like, all right, start hitting the shutter. So
yeah, the crowd on Saturday, I believe the official number was 2,424 for the game. So really a good crowd for a Saturday night, and the crowd was kind of into it in the first period. Those 2 goals at the end of the first period really quieted everyone down. It was just kind of that more the same, here we go. It wasn't until about midway through the second period, I can't remember exactly who it was, took a penalty down in the corner for the Phantoms in the offensive zone, took a penalty, and just kind of out of nowhere, the crowd just kind of went nuts. Booing, making noise, everything. The crowd just kind of woke up with that penalty call. I didn't see it exactly what happened, but
I remember it as a tripping or a hooking or something. It was a legit call, but I think, it was kind of just you've been calling us, not them, which wasn't the case really, but I think the crowd had enough of the Golden Boys and let the refs know it.
Yeah, but it was just, that was kind of the point in the game where just the crowd kind of just took over the arena, and yeah, I mean, just really amazing to sit and listen to.
Yeah, having the Penguins promo team there kind of helped. Iceberg, yeah, dollar beer. But
yeah, Dominic Bassey did not have a good night. Gave up, after the 5th goal, he was pulled. Colin Purcell came in, saved all 14 shots he saw. And we'll get into this a little bit later as far as the goaltending situation and what that's looking like right now. And then another thing was, you started to see in the second period, usually, the MO of Team USA is to get under the skin of their opponents. Youngstown, it seems to be more successful than other teams in the league. You kind of saw this flip that we haven't seen before, where it was actually Youngstown was getting USA frustrated into where they started making dumb mistakes, just kind of getting off their game. And it's not something you really see too often with USA. But there, about the halfway point of the second period, you started to see a little bit of frustration coming from USA, even though they had a 5-2 lead.
Yeah. I've seen it a couple of times over the years. I could think of a couple of instances, but yeah, you pointed it out there in the second period. And, pretty much as soon as you pointed it out, USA started pouring it on. And it was really, something I wish we could do more, but when, you've got kids in face cages, it's really kind of hard to get under their skin. You can't really get up in their face. I guess we found a way.
And another thing to point out, when it comes to playing Team USA, you have to bring your A game in all facets of the game. And that was something that really came up big for Youngstown, was the special teams. And the Phantoms on the power play for the night were 4 for 7, which it's been a long time since we've seen numbers like that from their power play. Their penalty kill, in 8 chances, USA only had 1 power play goal. So the penalty kill really stepped up. Like I said, it's all facets of the game. You have to be on your game when you're playing Team USA, especially this season. And the Phantoms special teams just really stepped up to the plate in this one.
Only 2 of our goals came at full strength, and only one of those was obviously 5-on-5, since the other one was the overtime goal. So yeah, you can't stress enough how important that is in a game like this. You got to win it any possible way. And obviously, we weren't getting the offense we needed 5-on-5. When they start taking dumb penalties like they were and we make them pay, we win.
So now the question becomes, looking forward, can this game be a turning point in the season for the Phantoms? The Phantoms had been treading water for a while now. I would think struggling to kind of come up with an identity for the team. We had the game with the under 18s earlier in the season. We started out, we were down 3-0, came back to win 6-3. But that was, we came back and tied it pretty early on and then ran away with it. So not really the same scenario so much as the game on Saturday night. But this game was basically, this team had to band together to do what they did to come back and then eventually win the game. So, can this game kind of be that turning point that maybe later on in the season we can look back and say this is the point where they turned it all around?
Yeah. Obviously, if they go on a big tear, we will definitely be pointing at this. At the very least, we got the bad taste out of our mouth. A Western Conference team rolling in this week, which we'll touch on later. So, we can kind of forget the pressure, trying to keep up with the Joneses. We'll have Ando back. He should be feeling it after a big international win for his home country. So, yeah, I think definitely this is going to be one of those points where you'll see some sort of a shift. We'll see how big it is.
So another part of looking forward will be the goaltending situation. For most of the season, neither Dominic Bassi or Colin Purcell, I think, have really distanced themselves as being able to lay claim to being the number one goaltender. As of late, there's been struggles all around. Bassi, I would think, a little bit more. He had the 1-0 shutout at the game up in Green Bay on November 29th. The 9 games since he has appeared in, he's only 1-4 with a .518 goals against average and an .846 save percentage. Now, Colin Purcell in that span, appearing in 7 games, is 2-3-1-1 with a 4.16 goals against average and an .881 save percentage. So, as it would appear right now, it looks like Colin Purcell has more of a foothold on the number one goaltender position than Dominic Bassi does.
Yeah, at one point in time, during the season, I kind of thought maybe Colin Purcell would be, on the ropes in terms of, his USHL career. So, yeah, he's definitely played a lot stronger lately, minus 1 or 2 hiccups. We'll see, Bassi, obviously, he came into a bad situation up in Plymouth. Can't kind of hold that against him. I don't think he was particularly bad what he played in the home game, but not particularly good either. Purcell comes in 14 of 14 and a heck of a save on the breakaway in overtime. Yeah, I think going forward at this point, Purcell is the number one goaltender. Obviously, that can change real quick.
Yeah.
We've both seen that, that it'll swing, back and forth during the season. So
now, not to completely put down Bassi, we've seen flashes this year of just how good he can be, as goes the team, especially in the month of December. It seems like has gone. Bassi has not been great. You're starting to get into the time of the year when you're really looking to nail down, which guy is going to be leading this team in net. And unfortunately, maybe he kind of hit a low point at the wrong time of the season. At any point he can bounce back. We know he has the talent to bounce back, and we certainly hope he bounces back.
Yeah, yeah.
But right now, I would say it's tilting towards Purcell.
At the very least, I would say Purcell is the more consistent goalie, and that's something to consider. You know what you're going to get shift to shift from Purcell. So Bassey, again, he has the talent, so it's not like other seasons, other NHL Chicago Blackhawks drafted goaltenders.
I was waiting to see how long it would take before that came up.
Yeah, I tried so hard. Yeah, but people know who we mean, so not to,
Okay, so moving on from all that, this week for our Phantoms player profile, last week we took a look at forward John Beaton. This week we're going to take a look at his more frequent than not line mate this season, Matt Cassidy. Now, Matt is a 99 birth year from Medford, New Jersey. He was the Phantoms' Phase 2 17th round pick in this season's draft, but he was originally a Phase 1 second round pick by the Green Bay Gamblers in 2015. Only came up and played 2 games that season with them, did get a goal though. He split his time in 2015-2016 with Team Comcast 18U and St. Augustine Prep, putting up 29 goals, 27 assists between the two. In 16-17, he played in the North American Hockey League with the Springfield Junior Blues, putting up 38 points in 56 games. On 17-18, he joined the Brooks Bandits of the Alberta Junior Hockey League, finishing with 42 points in 52 games. And last season, he was in the NCAA with Quinnipiac, I hope that's how you say it, with no points in 15 games, which brings us to this season. The half a season so far that's been played, he has put up 7 goals and 14 assists in 31 games, while being one part of the three-headed monster that is the Cassidy-Beaton Kern line when everybody's healthy and in the game. But what stands out to you watching Matt Cassidy on the ice this season?
Basically, he's a utility player and does a lot of things that don't show up on the score sheet. When we drafted him, it was, okay, here's a kid leaving college. I believe it's pronounced Quinnipiac. At least that's how I've heard it pronounced. Looked at his recent stats. It was like, why are we drafting this guy? He's an overager, a 99. And when I was at the tryout camp, I was like, okay, well, this kid's got a strong game. Maybe not exactly a scorer, but yeah, he definitely strong on the puck, penalty kill, power play. He can be a net front presence. Really can be, a good grinder along the walls. Overall, wherever he is, whatever position you put him in out there, he works hard and 99.9% of the time gets the job done. We've seen he can pitch in on offense when needed.
So to round it out with Matt, at the beginning of December, he announced that he had committed to the Ohio State University. I can say that because it hasn't been copyrighted.
Yeah, I'm a little disgusted at that.
I'm an Ohio State fan, but that was ridiculous.
Exactly. I was born in Columbus. I bleed scarlet and gray. I had a great aunt who, when she was a kid, listening to the football games on the radio before television, would put had like a little board and put the players on the field so she could envision it. So
nice.
Yeah. When I
that's commitment right there.
Oh yeah. Not just that. Ohio State golf. Christine Patterson was like, a legend around the pro shop. Played every week until she died at 80 something. But anyway, yeah. I heard that the Ohio State, and they tried to trademark that. I was a little disgusted.
So hopefully when Matt goes to Ohio State, he's not going to major in copyright enforcement or become a copyright lawyer. But in my book, any day when a Phantom becomes a Buckeye, to me, that's a good day. So very excited for him going to Ohio State. Quite a few Phantoms over the years have made the trip to Columbus and have done quite well there. So I imagine it'll be much of the same for him.
I'm not sure what was the story with Quinnipiac, but, Ohio State, you can't go wrong with that campus.
But we've seen that script before last year with Brett Murray starting out at Penn State, really just not fitting into the system they had there. Come back and really revitalized himself with Youngstown, and then moved on to much bigger and better things. So, I mean, it is a story we've seen before.
I won't mention Matthew Barnaby, but in college, who needs it?
Yeah. So, from both of us, good luck to Matt next year at Ohio State, and good luck the rest of this season. As much as we've seen so far, really looking forward to the second half of this year and what he has to offer the team. Now, looking ahead to this weekend, we've got Tri-City coming to town for 2 games with the Phantoms. Tri-City is currently second in the Western Conference with a record of 16-13, 3-2. Now, Friday is a 7:05 puck drop, and it is Sparky's birthday with various mascots from the area in attendance to help celebrate. I believe it was announced that the Cleveland Browns mascot would be there. May or may not be Freddie Kitchens in the outfit. We don't know. He doesn't have much going on right now.
Yeah, well, it could be Johnny Manziel for all we know.
And Saturday is also a 7:05 puck drop and is being called Hockey Night in Youngstown, which means dollar beers, dollar hot dogs, and a post-game skate. Now, you're going to go out there for that, right?
Yeah.
One of these times, I'm going to get you out on the ice.
Have paramedics standing by.
Now, I've already seen you on the ice once. That was a handful of seasons ago. That was towards the end of the season when I had signed up to be a season ticket holder. And you had won some kind of contest where you got to go out on the ice and where they put the cardboard or the plywood in front of the net with the little slot, and you have to try to shoot the puck into the slot.
They didn't need that.
You did better than Brad Marchand did on the shootout the other night.
I made contact with more than the very top of the puck, yeah.
Yeah. One less layer of paint on the top of that puck, and he would have missed it entirely. But you looked better than he did. But so yeah, that's one of my first memories of you. So congratulations. Basically, with Tri-City coming to town, what do we have to look forward to?
They're a good team. Had kind of a slow start. They've obviously shaken that off. Recently had a kind of a goaltender shakeup. So they've got 2 fairly new, relatively untested netminders. Not really sure what the story was with that. They called it an upgrade. You don't usually upgrade your goaltenders quite the way they did. We'll see. They've got some good scorers, also some pretty good defensemen. I kind of expect it to be a low-scoring game, but usually when I predict that, it's a shootout, so...
I'm sure you'll have a blog out either, by the end of the week as far as the preview for Tri-City, unless you weren't planning on doing one and I just said it out loud, so now you have no choice but to do it. But
I'm working on it. I'm kind of tied up at work, so, as long as I can get a few free minutes sometime during the day to put something together, I should have it out by Friday.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you again for listening along. As always, don't forget the big 3 of YouTube. That is subscribe, like, and comment. You can also chat with us on social media. The links are in the description. Or if you're at the game, we're both located at the bottom of section 222. This show is brought to you by hockeyfan.com, where you can find all of our content from the podcast, as well as all of Justin's weekly blogs. And you can always check us out on ohiohockeydigest.com in the Phantom section. So until next time, let's go Phantoms.
All right, I've got no parting words, so...
A poem, a limerick, anything? I've done this before. I've poked you with a stick enough that you come up with something.
Never give up, never surrender.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have poked you with the stick that time.
Come on, Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
Sigourney Weaver was hot in that movie, I'm sorry.
No argument here.